up, movie viewers? Dena Views and Reviews here, asking what you watching? Well, today I am watching Baby Reindeer. This movie stars Richard Gadd, Jessica Gunning, Danny Kiran, Tim Goodman-Hill, Jamie Meachie, and Joe Boone. It is written and created by Richard Gadd, directed by John Britton, Veronica Tofiska. It is produced by Matthew Mulot, Richard Gadd, Ed McDonough, Petra Fry, Wimdy Griff, and Matt Jarvis. Now, Baby Reindeer is said to be an adaptation from Scottish comedian Richard Gadd's one-man play. Based upon a true story, this movie focuses on a female that seems to have an unhealthy fascination with a bartender. Now, it begins with the bartender named Donnie. One day as Donnie is at work in the bar, a woman comes in. She looks very upset, somewhat confused and out of it. She appears to be dealing with something that is emotional. The bartender sees her and perhaps feels sympathetic to her and decides to buy her a cup of tea. Delighted by the gesture, she begins to speak to him, and he eventually learns that her name is Martha, and she claims to be a lawyer. All of a sudden, the frown becomes a smile, and she perks up and continues to talk, and she's enjoying his company. Unfortunately, after this random act of kindness by the bartender Donnie, it is misconstrued into something other than what it is by Martha. The patron, Martha once again, seems to have become captivated and completely infatuated with the bartender / comedian wannabe, Donnie. So much so, Martha begins to stop by the bar every day. She's confessing to be a lawyer. However, her visit turns into her sitting in the pub for hours and hours just talking and ranting to Donnie daily. Each time she seems to become more and more infatuated with Donnie, and it eventually turns into a complete unhealthy obsession with him. So much so that Martha has obtained his email address, and she is constantly messaging him all through the day and night. The emails all in with "sent from my iPhone," and she eventually sits at a bus stop across from his house day in and day out, and she's watching him. She's sitting right in front of his house. He can see her from his bedroom window, but she's just waiting to get a glimpse of him, waiting to see him come and go. Now, Donnie, being a struggling comedian, is also dealing with his own personal demons, like his sexuality. He's dealt with male rape, mental illness, and just self-loathing. He appears at times to be flattered by the attention that he is getting from this obsessed Martha, and at other times he himself engages in self-destructive behavior, including illicit drug use. It is a kind of weird, almost sadistic look into his own personal existence, dealing with his very intimate, sometimes bleak perspective of himself. And I gave this movie a 1.5, then I changed it to a 2 out of 5 for some reason. It started off quite interesting. Then, in my opinion, midway through, the tone kind of changed, and it kind of morphed into something a bit darker, foul almost, and somewhat gloomy for me. Now, the focus seemed to have changed, and it lost me, and that it just seemed more like a bit of he was having an undiagnosed traumatic moment or just rampant mental illness and it was evident in both of the main characters to me. Again, it is said to be based on a true story, of course, and in fact, the leading actor in the movie, Richard Gadd, who plays Donnie, he's the creator of this series. So was he reenacting and portraying a portrait of his life, or just a small portion of it? Or was this considered to be an autobiography? The names were changed in this movie, And his stalker is actually real. Of course, the name is not as it was presented in the movie, but he did go on to say in an interview that she sent him 41,071 emails, 350 hours of voicemail, 744 tweets, 46 Facebook messages, and 106 pages of letters. And even though he did seek help from police, he felt as if he was ignored and that it wasn't considered a problem because he was a male. But I have to say that the ending was kind of puzzling and left one with a bit of a perplexed view. I'm still questioning his psychological vigor. Now, Baby Reindeer is rated TVMA for language, nudity, alternative sex, and sexual violence. It is currently streaming on Netflix. This is Dena Views and Reviews. Subscribe and leave your comments on what you thought of this movie. And join me right here weekly for a movie review and our recommendation. And I want you to remember, it's my view. Now, what you watching?